Hey everyone, it's Nick Dease, Film and Humanities Librarian at the Boatwright Library. Today we're going to discuss how to avoid plagiarism by engaging ethically with scholarship, data, and other forms of information. It's likely that instructors have been warning you against plagiarism for as long as you've been submitting written work. It is just as likely that implications of course failure, suspension, and marks on your permanent record accompany these warnings. The warnings tend to possess a clarity that doesn't always extend to the concept of plagiarism itself. So, before continuing, let's try to define plagiarism. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, it's the, quote, action or practice of taking someone else's work, idea, etc., and passing it off as one's own. The University of Richmond Honor Code similarly defines plagiarism as the, quote, presentation, oral or written, of words, facts, or ideas belonging to another source without proper acknowledgement. Plagiarism is, as the Oxford English Dictionary puts it, literary theft. In general, scholars pursue non-monetary ends. By making new observations, articulating new theories, and publishing their work in highly respected journals, they seek to burnish their reputation and gain their peers' respect. What relatively little money they make is incidental. Ideas and words are the scholar's currency. Taking either without attribution is a cardinal academic offense. Plagiarism is not like theft, it is theft. Up to this point in your academic career, plagiarism may have seemed relatively straightforward. For example, English assignments may have asked you to interpret texts, while history assignments may have required research into an event or social movement or period. The former expected few, if any, outside sources, and the latter rarely invited your own interpretations. You likely submitted English papers that had very few citations and history papers that had many. Plagiarism was of course possible in both cases, but in each, the line between ethical and unethical use of information was clear enough. Scholarship at the college level, however, tends to blur these distinctions and complicate the ethical use of information. The college writer attempts to join and extend an ongoing scholarly conversation concerning their subject. Suffice to say, we want to bring our readers up to speed on what has already been said about the subject, and then demonstrate how our work pushes that conversation forward. In contrast to the relatively straightforward analyses more common in high school, many college assignments demand that you both reference existing material and make original contributions. Effective use of other writers' ideas is therefore fundamental to academic success at the college level and beyond. But we need to ensure we are employing and not stealing those ideas. Both definitions of plagiarism that we reviewed earlier reinforce this distinction. The Oxford English Dictionary suggests the problem lies not in borrowing the phrase or idea, but in passing it off as one's own. And the UR Honor Code likewise emphasizes the importance of, quote, proper acknowledgement. The format in which we acknowledge others' work tends to vary across disciplines. Citations, in other words, look different in political science than they do in philosophy, or sociology, or literary criticism. Some disciplines prefer footnotes, others endnotes, and still others prefer that we cite our sources directly in the body of our work. Regardless of the format in which we present our citations, we tend to use others' works in one of three ways. We can cite a theory, idea, or data. We can paraphrase an argument. And we can quote directly from other texts. Ultimately, plagiarism is self-defeating. We may run afoul of copyright laws, face administrative sanctions, and develop a reputation for producing unthoughtful work. Most significantly, though, plagiarism suggests we do not yet grasp the fundamentals of college-level scholarship. By appropriately employing and citing others' work in our own, we demonstrate for the reader how much research we have conducted and how thoroughly we understand our subject. We outline the contours of the scholarly conversation to which we intend to contribute, and we acknowledge that our work would not be possible but for this intellectual lineage. We tip our caps to the giants on whose shoulders we stand. And that's it for me. Hope that was helpful. If you want to explore further, please see our Scholarship as Conversation and Citing Sources tutorial. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at library.richmond.edu.